Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chip's NBA Weekly Report. I'm John Cranton, joined by the big game player, Chip Chirimbus. We've got some NBA playoff previews to go through, as well as the final week betting tips of the NBA season. First, I'm joined by Chip Chirimbus. He calls himself the big game player. I call him the Megabucks man because his high-roller Megabucks plays have been red hot for months now. Chip, what do you have on tap for this week?
Well, you know, the NBA is winding down, and a lot of people think this is a time to be leery, but it's also a good time to jump in because the odds makers see which teams have given up and are not even trying, and the other teams are motivated. So sometimes they may skew the line a little bit, and you may lose value, but there's also some really pertinent plays out there that we should be on, particularly the final days in the NBA.
Absolutely. There's plenty of value in the final week as well as the playoffs on tap. For this week, before we get into the games, Jim Feist, he had a great weekend, 6-1 on Thursday, 6-2 on Friday, had high roller winners with the Spurs, Cardinals, Thunder, and even the Nashville Predators in the NHL 18-7 run, as well as a winning Saturday. He's got a special offer, 3 plays for $9. It's a mixture of baseball and NBA. You can get 3 plays for $9 by calling 1-866-841-1655. Chip, what big plays do you have available?
Well, you know, I'm going to give my Megabug play, which hitting at 64% the last 91 releases. You know that, John. Coming off Oklahoma City on Sunday and the San Diego Padres. Megabug swept the board Sunday for us. And I have another big play out there. I'm only going to allow it for $5. John, this is a game we get hundreds of dollars for. You know that, for personal service action. But I am going to make an offer to everyone because I'd like for them to get on board this week and, of course, when the playoffs start and Major League Baseball. $5 for a Megabuck winner at 866-899-9462. This is the best value in all of sports. 866-899-9462.
Yeah, you said Oklahoma City on Sunday. It was actually the Lakers were your Megabuck play.
Yes, it was the Lakers. I misspoke. I just kept thinking about Harden being carried out by Meta World Peace. How about a guy that's so into peace that he's smashing people in the heads with his elbow? That was incredible.
I don't want him on my team or my locker room or even my gym class play either with that kind of attitude. I don't think he's going to make that much difference, though, especially in the first round. What are some betting tips that you would look for in the final week of the NBA season? Because you get some teams that are into it and some teams that clearly are not.
Well, you know, John, my old friend Jim Feist used to say this all the time, and it's something that we've used for years. I think the lines maker, not so much the lines maker, but the public overreacts to injuries or the guys not being in the lineup. And they have to realize, like Jim once said, someone goes down and then a star is born. The next guy in line, the drop-off usually isn't that dramatic because they're all pros out there. These guys are all professional players, and one guy can step in and just score 30 points like it's nothing, and it happens time in and time again. So I think the public overreacting to injuries or guys being out of the lineup are one of the basic flaws that the public has.
One of the things I look at the final week of the season is for games to be over the total. And what you have in that is some teams that are completely out of it don't care. Like, for instance, this week, New Orleans is going to be playing the Warriors. We're going to have the Wizards against the Cavaliers. And then the final game of the season, you get the Bucks are playing at the Celtics. Boston might not care that game and rest guys. And what you have is players who are less interested in playing defense because it takes a lot of energy and it doesn't show up in the box score. And you got some of those same players who are going to be free agents, so they want to meet with their agents in a few weeks and say, hey, look what I did the last week. I scored 50 points against so-and-so. And that looks better as far as free agency. So you can get teams in situations where they have no interest in playing defense. You can see some high-scoring games the final week. Okay, let's take a look at some possible playoff previews. Looks like the Knicks are going to be playing the Miami Heat, which should be a fascinating series. You got the young, talented, and now defensive-oriented Knicks against the team that Miami Heat looks like they kind of have a shoe-in to the finals if Derrick Rose continues to have medical issues.
Well, you know, I was very impressed with the Knicks yesterday. I watched a good portion of the game, particularly in the second half. I mean, Carmelo Anthony took 32 shots, and he only made 14, which is really not all that great. But the rest of the squad picked up the slack. Baron Davis had an excellent shooting night. Even Stoudemire had an excellent night. And, you know, with Shumpert, the Knicks look pretty well balanced. I'm just wondering, and I've said this a couple of weeks ago, being down here and watching the Heat continuously if they are just playing possum right now. I think that people are going to gravitate toward the Knicks in this contest, and if the Heat are not playing possum, the Knicks might be able to actually pull the upset off. But Miami, I guess we expect them all to come together. They seem to be better if either Bosh or Wade or LeBron is on the bench. They have a better record than if all three of them are actually in the lineup at the same time. And that goes back to the old adage, we used to say it for years, John, that there only is one basketball. You can only play with one basketball. And the guys who adjusted that to the most were maybe the old Lakers when they had Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, and Wilt Chamberlain, and the Knicks when they had Earl Monroe and Walt Frazier, because those guys were consummate professionals. I think these players, these modern players, their ego is so big that actually Dwayne Wade at time will sulk, or LeBron James will sit in the corner and say, okay, Wade, you go do it. And Bosh is just saying, hey, give me a chance. So I don't know what's going on, but I think we'll get a good look at what the Heat are going to do when the playoffs start. And if they come out big, watch out. And if they continue to struggle, then I think they're a go against.
Well, that's a good point. I remember when Carmelo Anthony was with Denver, they got swept out of the playoffs by the Lakers, and the thing was that Anthony appeared to quit on the team as they got blown out in those 4 games. Yep. He certainly was sulking at the end of that. He has a lot to prove. The thing, when I see the Heat-Knicks matchup, Knicks have been covering games. They're on a tremendous 17-6 ATS run, including that cover on Sunday as an underdog. But the matchup with Miami has just been a nightmare for them. Miami rolled 102-88 as a 10-point favorite. That was in late January, and then the last time they met, again, Miami won by 10 points, held the Knicks to just 89 points. That game also went under the total of 196. So as much as the Knicks are an exciting team with some nice young pieces, just seems to be a bad matchup.
Well, John, I'll tell you something. I'm really impressed with Carmelo Anthony's offensive prowess. This guy is a scorer. He's a scorer, and he knows how to get the ball in the basket, and I think you just have to let him do his thing, and the rest of the players have to adjust to it. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's like when you had Allen Iverson out there. This guy's going to shoot. He's going to take sometimes shots that aren't warranted or shouldn't be taken, but still, you have to let him play his game if you're going to give yourself a chance.
Another series that's probably going to happen is in the middle of the pack of in the East, and that is the CelticsHawks. They're kind of vying right now the last couple of weeks for the number 4 and 5 spot, but they seem destined to play each other, and it's a fascinating matchup. The old men of Boston against the young, athletic Hawks, and 2 outstanding defensive-oriented teams. Do you think home court is going to even matter for a series like this? Is it going to come down to experience versus the kids?
I don't think the Celtics care about home court. I mean, they went into Atlanta and left half their roster on the bench that day, and they lost, they covered the points spread. I think they made the Hawks a 10-point favorite in that contest, and I don't think it bothers the Celtics at all because, like you said, they have the experience, they have the coaching, and I think they know that they know how to win. Plus the fact that I believe these two have met in the playoffs maybe 3 straight years or 3 out of 4 years, and Boston always seems to dominate them when it counts. So I don't think the Celtics are afraid of the Hawks at all. The Hawks are young and they are maturing and they are getting better, but still, maybe this time around that home floor will actually mean something, and it looks like Atlanta's going to have that edge.
Yeah, one thing about the Hawks that's so impressive is their commitment to defense. This season and last, they're number 5 in the NBA in points allowed. That's plays right into what the Celtics do, too. The Celtics are 3rd. Thing is, the Hawks are on a remarkable 11-1 run over the total. You wouldn't think of that, the way they like to slow the pace down. However, that's something that trend, I don't see that continuing in the postseason, especially against the Celtics. Either. Yeah, you look at the 3 meetings that the Celtics and the Hawks have just played. 97-92 game, as you mentioned, without the Celtics rested their top players. April 11th they played. The Celtics won at home 88-86. That game went under the total considerably of 180. And then the game that was in Atlanta before that, 79-76, Boston won as an underdog, way under the total of 182. Boston shot just 39% for the game. The Atlanta Hawks shot 38%. Both teams totally committed to defense in that game. In fact, Boston led 73-58, and the Hawks really turned it on defensively. I don't see either team scoring a lot. I see a slow-paced game. And one final point about the Atlanta Hawks, and this cropped up in their loss to the Knicks on Sunday. This is not a great free throw shooting team. They're 23rd in the NBA in free throw shooting. And look what they did Sunday against the Knicks. That ended up being a 1-point loss. They were just 15 of 23 from the line, 65%. Got to be able to hit those freebies if you want to win games and cover numbers.
Unacceptable, John, particularly in the playoffs. And, it's one of the reasons that Dwight Howard is probably one of the more overrated players because he just doesn't do it from the line during crunch time. So the Celtics, of course, the veterans there, they are better from the line. And even Kevin Garnett, under pressure, is a good free throw shooter. So I think the Celtics have the edge.
Yeah, I agree with that about the big man in Orlando, too. Okay, do you have any free plays on tap this week for the folks?
Well, I know tomorrow. Now, let me double check here for a second. Tomorrow we have a contest that, like you say, it's a game of totals, and we have the Suns and the Jazz going head-to-head, and Phoenix, who we know loves to run the floor with Steve Nash, has gone under 31 of the last 46 times. This is a crucial game for both the Jazz and the Suns. It's a game which is going to decide probably the final playoff berth, and guess what? When it means something in the NBA, they usually come out and play defense. So I'm looking for this. I'm anticipating this game on Tuesday to go under the total between the Suns and the Jazz.
Okay, I got a free play going on Tuesday. Boston is heading to Minnesota. This is American League action. Red Sox Twins. It's a pitcher's park there in Minnesota. Got Josh Beckett going against Nick Blackburn. These are two guys who don't walk anybody. You get expansive outfield. Blackburn just 3 walks in 11 innings. He's got a 3.21 ERA against the Red Sox. Beckett just 3 walks in 19 innings. And Boston's hurting with 2 starting outfielders gone. Great spot to play Red Sox Twins under the total. Finally, we got trivia time. Chip, what team allows the most points in the NBA?
Wow. Well, who's lousy on defense out there, John? Could it be the Washington Wizards?
No, they have turned it on defensively down the stretch. The answer is the Sacramento Kings. There's a team that we talked about, teams that aren't in the playoffs. Kings have been horrendous against the spread, 2-15 ATS run, and the over is 14-8-1 the last 23 games following a loss. And if you give the Kings 1 day of rest, those young legs like to run and score, but they don't play defense. 11-5-1 run over the total. There's a team to look at over and to go against. All right, that wraps it up from here. Chip, tell everybody what the offer you have again for this week with your Red Hot High Roller Megabucks plays.
Well, John, this is a huge value for everyone out there because my Megabuck plays are at 64% the last 91 releases, and usually they go for hundreds of dollars, particularly with our late phone service. I'm offering it to everyone for $5. 866-899-9462. 866-899-9462. Get the big game players Megabucks, a game you can step out on, a game you can play with confidence. Only $5. 866-899-9462. Give me a call. You'll be glad you did, and have a great weekend.
Good, and Jim Feist has an offer, 3 plays for $9. Call today, you get plays in the NBA and baseball, 3 plays for $9, 1-866-841-1655. Chip, good luck with those Red Hot Megabuck plays, and everybody out there, good luck and keep picking winners.
Thanks, John. God bless, and have a great week.
We'll see you, everybody.